Just above the Blackwater, something is closing on the Moskva at the speed of sound, and not one of the 500 men aboard sees it coming. Then the night turns white. The blast hits your chest a half second before the sound does. It throws you off your feet, and 12,000 tons of steel lurches under your boots. Then the second missile slams home, and the most powerful warship in the Black Sea is finished. Two of them, fired off the back of a truck on the Ukrainian coast. They have just gutted the flagship of Russia's entire Black Sea fleet. She carried supersonic carrier killers, radar-aimed Gatling guns, and 3 rings of air defense reaching 70 kilometers out. None of it stopped them. For almost 4 years, Moscow swore this was just a fire, an accident at sea. Then Russia's own military court admitted what the world had already watched happen. Welcome back to Defense Declassified. Before we get to that night, you need to understand the target because this was no ordinary ship. The Moskva was a Slava-class guided missile cruiser, 600 feet long, 12,500 tons, and from 1983, the flagship of Russia's entire Black Sea fleet. Her main punch was 16 P-1000 Vulcan anti-ship missiles, supersonic carrier killers, each one built to gut an American aircraft carrier from 700 kilometers away, and to guard her 3 layers of air defense. In the outer ring, the S-300F Fort, the naval version of the missile shield Russia trusts to protect whole cities. Closer in, the Osa-M, to catch anything that slipped past. And, as a last resort, 6 AK-630 Gatling guns, each one throwing thousands of rounds a minute, a final wall of lead. On paper, almost nothing could touch her. And the weapon that would kill her? A slow subsonic Ukrainian missile designed to sink ships less than half her size. A weapon that, 2 months earlier, almost nobody believed was ready. Rewind to that evening. The Moskva is on patrol in the Black Sea, holding station about 120 kilometers south of Odesa, close enough to threaten Ukraine's coast, far enough out that her crew feels beyond reach. And that distance is the whole problem for Ukraine. The missile they want to use is the R-360 Neptune. Homegrown, brand new, built in their own factories. It can fly past 280 kilometers, but finding a moving ship that far out, over the curve of the Earth, is a different problem entirely. A coastal radar can only see so far before the planet itself blocks the view. The Moskva is sitting in that blind spot. In open water, her crew is sure no one can see past. But that night, the air over the Black Sea does something strange. It forms what scientists call a duct, a freak layer that bends radar waves and carries them far past the normal horizon. A study from 2023 found that on the night of the strike, this ducting stretched a coastal radar's reach to beyond 130 kilometers, far enough to touch a ship that should have been invisible. The blind spot vanished, and the Moskva, sitting in what she thought was open water, suddenly lit up on a Ukrainian screen. Ukraine could finally see her. Now, they had to get close enough to kill her. Here's what should have saved the ship, and didn't. The Moskva had every advantage. 3 layers of defense, trained crews, a radar picture of the sky around her. So how did 2 slow missiles get through? This is where the story turns murky. Some of what comes next is confirmed. Some of it is only ever claimed. Ukraine says a Bayraktar TB2 drone was sent in first as a distraction, dangled in front of the fleet to pull eyes and radar the wrong way while the real threat came in low over the sea. It is a compelling story, but analysts note the ship's anti-drone and anti-missile systems were separate, so blinding one would not blind the other. Treat the decoy as a claim, not a fact. What we do know is how the missiles flew. The 2 Neptunes came in skimming the surface, just meters above the waves, hiding in the clutter of the sea itself, under the curve of the radar. By the time a ship that size can react, a sea skimmer is already on top of her. And here, the story turns murkier still. The outer ring never engaged. The inner ring never engaged. The AK-630 guns, built for exactly this moment, never even fired. Whether they were switched off, in poor repair, or simply given no warning at all, no one has ever explained. The last wall of defense stayed silent. What is not in doubt is the result. The first missile finds her at the waterline, then the second. 2 hits on a target 2.5 times larger than anything this weapon was ever built to kill. The flagship is burning. Now, zoom out, because this is where one burning ship becomes a problem for an entire navy. The fires spread, the ammunition starts to cook off, explosions tear through the cruiser from the inside. The damage control parties, many of them young conscripts who had never fought a real fire, lose the compartments one by one. Around 500 men go over the side into a cold April sea. Her commanding officer, Captain First Rank Anton Kuprin, was reported killed that night, though Moscow never confirmed it and later aired footage it said showed survivors. His true fate has never been independently confirmed. Russia's first story is simple. A fire set off the munitions. No missile, no enemy, just an accident at sea. The crew abandoned ship, and then, the next day, April 14, 2022, under tow towards Sevastopol, the Moskva rolls over and sinks to the floor of the Black Sea. The flagship of the Black Sea Fleet, gone. The only one of her class Russia would ever lose, and a ship she could never realistically replace. For nearly 4 years, Moscow held the line that it was just an accident. Then, in January of 2026, that story finally broke. A Moscow military court, Russia's own court, ruled that the cruiser was sunk by a Ukrainian missile. The same ruling put numbers to the human cost. 20 dead, 24 injured, 8 still missing, though independent estimates run far higher. Here is the math that no big navy can ignore. A coastal missile is cheap. A 12,000-ton flagship is not. 2 homegrown weapons fired from a truck on the shore erased the most powerful warship in the Black Sea. The Moskva proved what smaller navies had only whispered. The age of the untouchable warship is over. A few cheap missiles, the right sliver of physics, and the biggest target on the sea becomes the easiest one to find. Russia spent 4 years calling it a fire. Its own court finally called it a missile, but the Black Sea was not done. The next weapon coming for Russia's fleet would not fly, and it would not even show up on radar. It would come from below the surface, packed with explosives, racing across the waves on its own. Unmanned, relentless, almost invisible until the moment it hit. The drones that learned to swim, and the night they came for what was left of the fleet. That story, next time on Defense Declassified. Until then, stay sharp.